It's been 10 years since we've seen a Captain Tsubasa title hit a console, and with the new release of Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions on the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch and Steam, it was a game that I had to grab given the football fan in me. Whilst I've never really been into the whole Captain Tsubasa game series, from the very first moment I saw the trailer for Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, this was a game that instantly hit my radar. So far, I've put in a good amount of hours into playing the game, and whilst I'm really enjoying my experience with the fast-paced action gameplay and the visuals, I'm still going to give you 5 things that I'm not really too keen on the game and let you know whether it's worth buying or not.
Five things we hate in cyberhood. Number 1.
この大会お前は使わん
Look, keeping it real, I'll be lying if I was to say that I'm extremely familiar with the Captain Tsubasa manga or the anime series, and this is probably my first game in the series that I own on a console, so I'll admit I've been having a hard time getting really invested or following the story in Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions. From what I've gathered, it seems that episode Tsubasa starts at Tsubasa's middle school football adventures without much of a backstory and exposition. In fairness, whilst progressing through the episode, you do get a chance to unlock additional movies called Tsubasa's Memories that you can get educated with some of the backstory. I still feel though that this doesn't actually make following the story any much easier, as these memories are unlocked in random order, so I kind of was still lost throughout trying to gather what's going on from what's not going on. I'm sure fans of the series will tell me how amazing the story is, and I do love the voice acting and the visuals, but given my current experience, it has been hard for me to get fully invested into the story itself.
Number 2.
来い翼先輩俺の力を見せてやれくらえくそ
Look, I personally don't have an issue with the overall voice acting and subtitles displayed for the cutscene and stories in this game, but I just found whilst playing the game it's hard to actually get fully in-verse with the commentating during a match, as obviously it's not in English. Some people might say it's a harsh criticism, but for me, I feel it's an experience that I'm missing out on simply because I cannot read the subtitle commentary whilst playing the fast action game at the same time. To me, and as someone who really loves the sport of football, commentating adds an extra level of excitement to the overall experience in a football match. And whilst I can still hear the excitement in the commentator's voice whilst playing the game, the fact that I can't understand what he's saying and the fact that I can't read the subtitles at the same time kind of gives me a disconnected experience.
Carnegie 君ダイレクトなパス金太君ここは抜かせません
Number 3.
When I saw the first few trailers for Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, the games that instantly came to mind were Sega Soccer Slam or Mario Strikers. These are games that I hold in high regards, and I really thoroughly enjoyed playing these games back in the days. And this is probably the reason why this game appealed to me, because deep down I actually thought that this was the main direction that Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions would push towards and kind of be its own version of those type of arcade football games. Whilst it definitely does have the fun elements that you will get in those type of arcade football games such as power-up shots and unlimited fouls, at times it feels like they're trying to steer away from the over-the-top wacky gameplay and have a more realistic approach to football on the pitch. It's not a bad thing for some people and definitely not really a bad thing for myself, but personally I would have kind of preferred it being more of a Mario Striker type of game as opposed to trying to get a balance between that and the realism that you may find in a game like FIFA or PES. Obviously this game is no FIFA or PES, but there are times where I feel like the gameplay is a little simulated, whereas in my experience with an arcade football game, I pretty much always expect to have a little bit more of a free roam on the pitch to score as many goals that I feel my skill set will allow, and just overall feel as if I'm in more control of the action rather than it feel a little bit scripted.
ビクトリーヌ君ここで反則飛びつくゴール隅に決まったビクトリーヌ君見たか俺の
Number 4.
I've definitely experienced worse loading times in other games, but the loading time in Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions can get frustrating at times, especially given how many cutscenes that you have to go through before playing a match in the campaign mode. In addition to the loading time annoyance, you also do get disruptive cutscenes during a match in campaign mode. Now, at first I thought this was a real cool addition to the gameplay until it started happening more frequently and breaking up the experience, which started to feel like a little bit of a detachment for me personally. There's times where your opponent might take a shot and then it goes into a full-blown cutscene, and when it gets back to the match, it kind of feels a little bit of a disconnect. Maybe this might be something that I'm personally having an issue with because I'm not really fully immersed into the story with the gameplay itself, but I started feeling like the cutscenes was getting a little bit too much and there isn't much gameplay involved, especially when you considered how many hours are in the campaign mode.
この試合お前に活躍はさせん決めた神取りタックルだ今のタックルで
Number 5.
翼君渾身のシュート
Keeping it real, I do have various issues with the game mechanics in this game, such as the slow sprinting, annoying dribbling, the overpowered defenders that just barge you off the ball for fun, to even the inaccurate passing that just always seems to be mispassed to the opposing team. The lottery style of the penalty shootouts is something that I'm not even going to bother go into, which is definitely something which feels like a lucky draw. But putting all of that stuff to one side, the one issue that I do feel stands amongst all of them is actually scoring a goal. One of the main purposes of me playing a football game is to actually score a goal, and in Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, goals are definitely a rarity at the best of times. In some of these matches that I've played, I would expect the scoreline to be something like 10-8, and I ended up grinding out a 1-0 victory or even maybe a 2-1 victory at best. Yeah, obviously in the real world of football, matches are not always high scoring, but for an arcade football-like game, I kind of did expect a more easier approach to getting a goal. Without a super power shot, scoring a goal with just a normal shot, whilst not impossible, it's extremely rare, and even if you're able to find enough space to pull off one of those super powerful shots against a goalkeeper with zero energy, you will still be lucky even if the ball goes into the back of the net. All in all, while I do think Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions has quite a few issues that is hard for me to look past, I think it's more down to the fact that I'm a newbie to the series and I probably have a lack of level of appreciation for the franchise. After investing a good few hours into the game itself, the game has definitely grown on me. In the first couple of matches, I was mistaken to believe that the gameplay was just basic barge and shoot, and it definitely has a lot more complexity and intuitiveness to the overall experience that meets the eye. And it's something that I have certainly grown to appreciate. Visually, I think the game looks amazing, and I also feel that the voice acting is awesome, even if I have to read the subtitles. If you're looking for a FIFA or PES style game, this probably wouldn't be your cup of tea, but if you're looking at quite a different but fun approach to a football game in the style of an arcade game, this is definitely worth grabbing, and a game that, as I said, has grown on me, even if you feel that I'm a little bit critical. Anyway, peeps, do let me know your thoughts of my opinion in the comments below. I know there's probably a lot of hardcore fans behind this game that will definitely feel that everything I said is wrong, but this is just my personal experience. Do let me know your thoughts on this game, and we can definitely wrap it up below.
シュートそこ横っ飛びで鋭く反応ゴール隅に決まったまさに決めてやったぜ
Hit that like and subscribe button for more dope Cyberhood videos.